In the previous video, we talked about why the messages you have heard or seen regarding reading is incorrect. Those messages, let me remind you, are readers are leaders, or the more you read, the more you succeed, or the messages that promote to reading one book a week or a month, or how typical CEOs read about 52 books a year and comparing you to those CEOs and reminding you that that's why you're not a successful person like they are, or the other videos promoting to reading 100 or 200 books a year. And in that video, we talked about why these messages are incorrect and what to do about them. So make sure to check that video first. In this video, we're going to talk about why these messages, the same messages we mentioned, are adding stress to your life, a stress that isn't relieved by reading, and how to fix it. So make sure to pay attention. First, I'm going to remind you of the question we asked in the first video, which is why do you read? And the answer was either one of those choices. Do you read to feel joy or motivation? Do you read to have more information? Or do you read for self-development purposes? If you're reading for joy or information, then this video doesn't apply to you, neither this one nor the previous one. If you're reading for self-development, then these are the videos for you. You should check those and understand those. I'm not asking to agree with it. I'm just asking to understand it and reflect on it. If you're reading for self-development, then those messages about reading one book a week or reading 100 books a year are adding stress to your life. And to explain this, I'm gonna go to the ladder tool we mentioned in the previous video. Its purpose is to master any tool to have an impact in your life, and you start with the first stage, which is not being aware. At this stage, you're not being aware of one or two tools that can have an impact in your life, whether it's productivity maybe, or public speaking. Maybe you hear about public speaking, but you're not yet aware that public speaking is a necessary tool that can take your life to the next level, either in your career, in your work, or in your life in general. Maybe you can be a public speaker, as a career, and this can take your life to the next level. Same with productivity, or maybe body language or communication. Right now, you're not being aware of the necessity of one or more tools in your life. You have the benefit of no stress because you can't be stressed about a thing you're not being aware of, and you have the disadvantage or the problem of probably being late in knowing them. So to understand this point, let me ask you this. What is or are the points that you wish you have learned earlier in your life? That by learning them, your life right now could have been into another or a better place. And I bet that there is or are a couple of points that you wish you have learned earlier in life. I'm just like promoting that you should dedicate like 30 minutes or an hour every day to become aware of everything around you. Just listen to audiobooks or hear podcasts or watch TEDx or read a book. Just dedicate those 30 minutes to 1 hour every day, so that you increase the chances of knowing about these tools earlier. So this is what I'm saying. So this is the first stage. So you are not aware of productivity or public speaking as a necessary tools in your life, and then you have heard or have seen or have read them somewhere. So you move to the next stage, which is being aware but not knowing. Now you have the benefit of being aware of those tools, hopefully in the right time, and you have the disadvantage or problem of adding the stress of not knowing. Now you are aware that public speaking is a necessary tool in your life. Now you know how much impact that you can add to your life by having this tool in your life, but you're stuck at the stress of not knowing how public speaking works, what to do to be a good public speaker. So if you stop at this stage, you'll be stuck with the stress of not knowing. So you have read more or seen more of or read more. So now you move to the third stage, which is knowing but not applying. Now you have the benefit of knowing how the tools work, but you're going to be stuck with the problem or the disadvantage of the stress of self-doubt. And you're going to self-doubt the information you have, whether or not they are enough, or whether or not they are the right information, because you can spend hours and hours reading one or two or three books, but they are in the wrong direction, or they have the wrong information. Not necessarily the wrong information overall, but the wrong information for you. Maybe they are not addressing the real issue in yourself, right? So that's the first self-doubt stress. And the other self-doubt stress, are you good at it? Are you going to be good at public speaking? Maybe you have enough information, you have the right information, but you're going to be, if you stopped at this level, you're going to stuck with that level of, the stress level of self-doubt, in terms of doing. Will you be able to be a good public speaker? Am I going to be a successful YouTuber? Am I going to be, I don't know, a good communicator, a team player, anything? The only way to go to the fourth stage is by applying. So that's the fourth stage, applying. And usually, as we said before, usually it starts with applying with incompetence first, because you're still learning, you're still trying. This is a new area for you. And with more practice or with more applying, you move to applying with competence. In this stage, you have the benefit of testing. Now you can test the information you have gained, the theories you have learned. You can test whether or not they are enough, or whether or not they are the right information for you. And the problem here, or the disadvantage here, is self-criticism, not self-doubt, self-criticism. Because when you start applying, when you're at the level of applying with incompetence, your self-criticism shows and start telling you that, you're not good enough, you should back off, and so on. And this self-criticism moves away with more applying, and it disappears completely, or 99.9999% in the applying with competence stage. So when you reflect back on just reading the messages you are hearing in those videos or blogs or podcasts, just reading is going to take you to the third stage, as we mentioned in the first video. Right now, you have a better idea about the benefits and the problems you have in that stage. In this stage, you are stuck with the stress of self-doubt. You will always question the information you have. Are they enough? Or should I read more? Should I see more? Should I hear more? And am I going to be good at it? This is the stress you are going to be stuck with if you just stuck with reading in order to be successful or a leader. And that stress you can eliminate, for enough information, you can read more, and that that partially will eliminate some of the stress you have, by reading more. But you can't eliminate, or you can't remove the stress of your self-doubt in terms of, are you going to be good at this tool or using this tool? So that's my takeaway from this, is whenever you hear these phrases again, either you stop using these phrases. And because in the first video, we also mentioned that psychologically speaking, when you say read to lead or read to succeed and believe in this word, in this sentence, you're creating this mental conditioning between just reading and leading. So whenever you finish reading, your mind will trick you that, half the way is done, let's lead or succeed. And then you try to lead or succeed and it doesn't work. So you give up, or you be more frustrated. And this is another level of stress, which is, not self-doubt and not self-criticism, because now you have tried and failed. So now you have another stress, which is you are a failure. What you did wrong wasn't about you, was about believing in a wrong message that said reading is leading. So either stop using that phrase, or stop listening to that phrase and listen to it consciously, and, interpret that reading for joy or information, those I can do a book every week or 100 books a year. But if I'm reading for self-development, then no, reading is not leading. Reading is knowing, and knowing should be followed by doing, and doing is succeeding and leading. So you can replace the messages, use the proper sequence, which is read to know to do to succeed or lead. Or you can use, another compound words like do to succeed, which, because doing implies that you should know first, either by reading or seeing or hearing. So you can use that compound word or the other compound words we mentioned in the previous video. Personally, I like to use apply to fly. First, Apply is a compound word that implies that you have to know first, then apply or do, and it rhymes. Reflecting back on the first question, we ask, why do you read? Is it for joy or information or self development? The two rules are, if you're reading for joy or information, then more is more. The more you read, the more joy and information you'll have. But if you're reading for self development, then less is more. The less you read, the more you'll give yourself time to apply, and the more you'll develop yourself. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We will discuss any tool that you can use and upgrade your life. Until we meet, keep applying, keep achieving, and keep upgrading.